Hey guys, it's Alona Minkowski, and you're watching HuffPost Black Voices on Facebook Live, and I'm joined today by Teyonah Parris, who's here to really, grace us with her amazing presence. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
We are thrilled to have you, and don't forget you can send in your questions or your comments on Facebook. I'll be checking everything right here on my phone. So we have a lot to cover because you're a busy woman.
Yes.
But let's talk about Survivor's Remorse, Season 3. Is coming back, right?
Yes, July 24th on Stars. I am excited. It is a very intense season. It's very different from our seasons 1 and 2. So I am excited to see how the audience responds to it. You know, our show really, it's a comedy, but it's I won't say a dark comedy, but it deals with very heavy issues and but it makes you laugh in a way. So yeah, but we, you know, in light of what happens at the end of season 2 with Uncle Julius getting in the accident, we're gonna see how the family deals with that and who they become.
Well, what can you tell us, right? Because everyone, of course, deals with grief, with loss,
right,
with tragedy in their own way, right? So what are we going to see from Missy and from others on the show?
With Missy, it's definitely, I think season 3 in general, we get to see a lot more of who she is as an individual. So far in seasons 1 and 2, it's really how she fits in with this family, her trying to figure it out with this move of her and Reggie coming down to Atlanta. And this season we get to see a glimpse of who she was before she was Reggie's wife or Missy Vaughn, who she was before any of that, and really her trying to find really what am I going to do here? How do I fit in? And then with this accident with Uncle Julius, I think it really puts things into perspective for her. Missy and Reggie start talking about kids and what do they want to do? Is that something they are ready for? It's so much, and it really just, yeah.
Well, I think people want more of Missy's backstory, right? But people want more Missy.
I hope so.
In general,
I love Missy and Reggie, the characters and what they represent. Two young black people who are successful in their businesses, who are very much in love and supportive of one another. I think it's so important to have that sort of representation on television. And I love what O'Malley and Stars and Survivor's Remorse are doing with that couple, to really say this exists and it's normal. I know many couples like this, but we don't get to see that on television.
Yeah.
That's not something often represented. I love Missy. I hope people want to see more.
Now, LeBron James is, of course, the executive producer on the show. Yes. Is he involved? Is he hands-on with it?
Well, so last season, season 2, we filmed while he was at playoffs. And then this season, it's the regular games, I guess, that lead up to playoffs.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Season.
Right. Okay, the regular season. So he's been busy, but what he's
been busy winning championships.
Go ahead, Cleveland. I'm so not a sports person.
You didn't watch the championships or Game 7. You didn't watch LeBron bring it home.
I didn't. I'm so bad. I want to watch it because people said just as an event, you know, that it's just amazing and it was very much ups and downs, but I can watch any sport, but I wasn't. It was Father's Day, I think, and I was spending time with my dad.
Yeah, that's a good excuse. That's a great excuse.
He was like, "Can't you go away? I want to watch the game." But he did not tell me that, and we just hung around and walked around. So that is my excuse. But
I think that's legit.
Okay,
legit? That works.
My dad was probably trying to get rid of me.
I used to be a really big basketball fanatic, and then in recent years, I don't know, with work and everything, it's like I just don't have the time to be as dedicated, so I've become more of a fair weather fan that basically only tunes in for the championships.
I love what it means to him as an athlete and as a supreme athlete, and what it means for his city. I think that's beautiful. And the same with like Serena, just that sheer athleticism and just excellence. I totally support that, and I'm here for that. But as far as LeBron on the show, he really helps with keeping it authentic. What is real, what's really happening, what really happens in the locker room, behind the scenes, with the families, those sorts of things, helping us with storylines and plot points. He brings the authenticity to the show for sure. And then he comes by set whenever he gets a brief second, and that's always fun. The whole cast and crew are up in arms and excited, and he's just so cool and humble. It's great.
That's good. That's nice to hear.
Yes.
And you're not an athlete, but you still, I'm sure, can relate with that, having a drastic life change, right? In terms of what comes with fame and with celebrity.
Yeah.
And so are there things, on the show too that you relate with personally?
I think we're in a time of social media and celebrities, even myself, we get on there and we share our opinions, and sometimes it's not very well taken, and the backlash that you get is way more out of proportion than a normal person who's just has their friends and family as their followers. So I think I get a little scared to post things, and people forget that celebrities are also human beings and they make mistakes, and I think we really see that on the show with Cam Calloway. He's a human being, and his family, they're all real people who say really awful things that you probably also say, but then you learn from it. You know what I mean? And we don't hold anything back on this show. It is raw, it is inappropriate, it is hilarious, but you learn from it because they are real. You can relate to it. You're like, wow, yes, I've probably said the equivalent of that and had to learn how can I say this a little better.
Well, listen, you learn, and maybe you'll get judged by whoever was there, but you're right. As a celebrity, you're judged by everybody and all the followers that you have. But you've been very vocal about, obviously everything that's been going on. I want to say in recent weeks, but you can say in decades, history, hundreds of years, and you retweeted that all lives can't matter until Black lives matter, right? How do you
unless Black lives
matter? Thank you. How do you still explain that, right, to people who still want to say all lives matter, who aren't quite understanding the distinction there?
It boggles my mind, because if you say all lives matter, then you have to also be saying Black lives matter, and it's not a separation, it's more of a focus. Like, yes, all lives matter, we all understand that, but we're dealing with an issue right now. It's like saying there's a house on fire here, and the fire department comes and they start spraying water on all the neighbors' houses because all houses matter. Yeah, they do, but this one is burning. This one is in dire, desperate need. So for me, when I say Black Lives Matter, it's not excluding that all lives matter. It's saying we need to focus on what's happening right here. Oh gosh, yes. It bothers me that when people can't see, when they make all lives matter, to me it's making it about you, and it's not about you right now. It's just not, and you have to get over yourself and stand with your fellow human beings and your Black brothers and sisters who need your help, because there's a system that is not serving them, and if some of us are hurting, then we're all hurting. We really are. So it breaks my heart that is just everyday fodder that we see on online now. People losing their lives, people getting arrested just for no reason, and it's all on camera. Yeah, and it's not.
Well, that's what's changing the fact that it's become more of a national conversation, right? That people can't ignore it or deny that it happens and exists
but
anymore.
They still do.
Well, fine. Some people do. Some people do.
What I'm saying. It boggles my mind. We have it on camera, and yet you still don't have officers being charged for what is very clearly to everyone a senseless murder, execution, whatever you want to say. That's what it is. So it's bringing it to light more, the videos, and making things more fact than he say, she say. So I think that is great. But for me, it's like, what is next? What is the next step? How do we put this together?
I think that's the big question, right? Is for people even more so than maybe going out and protesting on the streets or writing something with the hashtag is how do you put things into action?
Right.
How do you become a part of change in the country and solutions?
I don't know. I've gone to community meetings and just talked with fellow human beings about what is that? What is it? And I think the thing that I'm finding is none of us really know. None of us know. But one step at a time, like saying, okay, you know what? For me, it will be protesting, and not just today. It's going to be shouting and hollering and being consistent about it until real actual change starts to happen. And I think making sure that we get out there and vote. I will say that I was not registered to vote in New York City, so I actually thought it was too late. And I went to one of these meetings, and I'm still very embarrassed by that. But at one of these community meetings, these action meetings, they're like, it's not too late. I thought it was too late. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure there are many other people who are just like myself, but we have until, I believe, August, I want to say 9th. It might be a little later than that, but think 9th.
I don't actually know the exact date, but find out.
But it's not too late. And I thought it was too late. I thought, oh shoot, and we have to, and I'm going to register so that I can be a part of these primaries before, obviously the presidential election. But it's making sure we get people in office who will speak to our issues as a Black community and be a voice for us and make sure things are heard. And that for me is what I believe will be my next step, is just really being more aware and attentive to who it is I put forward to represent me and be a voice for me in the system.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point too, right? But it can't only be there. By the way, I just want to read a couple comments here. People asking, why am I checking my phone? Because I'm trying to read your comments. And so, Vanoy says, Black Lives Matter. Yes, Hadia says, she is beautiful and intelligent. And Willa says, always beautiful. But then here's, a point to Maggie Lowe Williams, and I'm curious how you respond to things like this, too, especially, with the films, all the projects you've been a part of. No, Maggie says Black people are much more likely to be killed by other Black people.
Well, Maggie, I'm sure that whatever community you live in, if there is crime, that crime is going to be committed amongst the community. So to say Black people are generally killed more by Black people, white people are generally killed by white people? Like, what are you saying here? What are you saying, Maggie? It happens amongst its community. So if you go to, I don't know, a predominantly white town in the middle of America, I'm sure most white people who might have died there were killed by other white people. So you're not really saying anything there to me, Maggie. And that's beside the point. Again, we're dealing with a very specific issue here, which is Black people being targeted and unlawfully and unrightfully honed in on and just attacked by the police, by the people that are supposed to be protecting by the police, right? By people who have sworn to protect and serve. And it is not a fallacy or a mystery that the number of Black men stopped and frisked for no reason or pulled over. I mean, this last one, they said they had a broken taillight, and then the image comes out of very clearly the taillights were fine. Mm-hmm. They were profiled. That's what that was. You know what I mean? So that's just a fact. I'm sorry. So, okay, Maggie, thank you.
What do you say? It was, you were in Dear White People, right? If
yes.
you could right now say something to white people that you feel like they should know, what would it be?
I would say, Dear White People, when your brothers and sisters, Black people, are hurting, Asian people, whomever, whatever, dear white people, when we're going to talk about Black people right now, when your Black brothers and sisters are in pain and hurting, it also affects you, and it would behoove you to help, to be a voice, to stand in solidarity with them to these awful injustices and that are so clear to everyone via cell phone videos, to stand with them and to support them and to be a voice and know that it matters. It matters. Your voice matters just like ours, but obviously we are stronger together, and that's what I would say. Yeah, you can't just sit back and watch, because we're humans, and I think that is often lost on people. And obviously when a 12-year-old kid, Tamir Rice, is at the park playing with a toy gun, and the first thing a cop does is shoot them, you're not seeing that child as a human being. You're not even seeing him as a child, and that's a problem. So that is what I would say to my dear white people. We are human, and we matter, and it would be amazing if you could join with us in this fight.
Well said.
Thank you.
Black women in particular too have always played a huge role when it comes to the organizing and being there on the front lines of that. Jesse Williams, gave a shout out and a recognition, an acknowledgement of that in his speech during the BET Awards. But overall, do you feel like Black women get the credit they deserve for what they do?
I don't know that I'm looking for credit, or any of the Black women that I know are out there fighting this fight. I don't think anyone's looking for credit. I think we're just looking for change. Yes, we have always been a backbone to our community and to this country, to this nation, built on the backs of Black women and men. So I mean, that again is a fact, and that's just a given. But I don't think anyone is actively looking for credit. We're looking for change.
I'm going to read a couple more comments here too. Aaron says, I'm joining the fight. I'm tired of the senseless murder of Black citizens. Tammy says, well said. Thank you so much. Sheena says, I love Teyonah so much, so much. And Brandy says, don't let them divide us. Martin says, much love and respect. And Dari says, sister, thank you for such thoughtful words. My fellow queen, I've been in tears and so overwhelmed lately. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. Thank yous all around.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, it's just, yeah. I mean, I don't know what to say. I can only speak from my experience and what it feels like, and it's just, you walk around as I don't think people realize, as Black people, or I'll just speak for myself, I walk around with this sense of, I can't just enjoy myself, and I'm gonna speak for the Black people I know. There's this week we went out to dinner last night, and it's like we can't just have dinner. Like, we're all sitting here crying and talking about the state of our people and trying to figure out solutions. You just wanted to have dinner, but you can't. And you look at the table next to you, and you see, a white couple just happy, like nothing, not a fear in the world. And we walked down the street with this weight on us, and we were sitting outside, so people were walking by us, and literally it was maybe 8 of us. They would stop because they knew what was that we were talking, like you could just feel it. And we had this one woman just start, I matter, Black Lives Matter. It was like she had no one to talk to, and she saw this collection of Black people sitting here just trying to nurture one another and support one another, and she just had to join in. Like, that's just where we are right now. It's just this walking around with this sense of this weight, and what do I do and how do I help? That's just tangible in all of my community. So I encourage everyone to join this fight, because that's what it is. It's a fight for our lives.
Do you feel too, like, through the work that you do, I mean, even something like Chirac, right? Some people criticized it because they think that you shouldn't approach something like gun violence in a satirical way, but do you feel like the work that you've done helps also kind of further further the conversation? Do you think about that before you take on a role?
Absolutely. I hope that my goal is for the work that I do to spark conversation, to further conversations that may have already started. With Chirac, you may not approve of the way in which we told that story, but as an artist, I was thrilled to be able to use classical text in verse. People are able to glean from it things that will maybe plant a seed in their head. You know what I mean? Then I'm doing my job. My desire as an artist is to incite, is to encourage and hopefully move people to action. And it's not always so grand and a dire issue like gun violence, but it is certainly conscious when I choose roles. And like with Missy in Survivor's Remorse, as I was saying earlier, I think having this relationship between this black man and this black woman in a very positive light is important. And that was very conscious in my accepting this role and being a part of this family, is that yes, that is important to see on TV. That is necessary. They are flawed. They will get on each other's nerves, but they're human. And every single character on Survivor's Remorse, we're all black. The family, we're all, not obviously, families are many things, but we're all black, and we're all so different. And it's great to see the nuances and the humanity in black people on television. In some episodes, it's just them living life and having fun, and it's raw and it's crazy, and you're like, why did they just say that? And that is also necessary, because it's not always this deep. You know what I mean? But yeah.
What? Sometimes you have to be able to laugh.
Sometimes
and and relax and laugh at yourself.
Yeah, yes. And this family definitely
knows how to
will laugh. Oh, you will laugh and cry and be embarrassed that you're laughing at something that is just so wrong to laugh at.
July 24th, right?
July 24th on
Season 3.
Stars, Season 3. Tune in. We live tweet both coasts. So yeah, please. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well,
This was
thank
a great
you.
conversation.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad we got to have this conversation. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And thank you to all of you too who wrote in and left your comments and your questions
thank
too.
you.
We'll see you in the next stream.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Sorry, there were so many.
I didn't expect so many beautiful questions. There's going to be more of an interview about survivors. I mean, it's fine, obviously.